Okay, I have had my day's rest and I feel re-energised and ready to go for a brand new week on 67 Hail Hail, and it is a hectic week for 67 Hail Hail and of course for Celtic as well. A big thanks to John and Stevie for steering the ship through, I was going to say troubled waters. They weren't really troubled at all yesterday. It was pretty calm waters as Celtic got a 3-0 win at Tannadice. Really enjoyed the guys' reaction. Thanks for them stepping in and doing that. Check that above somewhere. And yeah, today we're going to set the scene for a brand new week. It's the Monday Roundup. But first, before we get on to some transfer chat and other bits and bobs, some thoughts from me on yesterday. You probably don't care, and you probably won't be surprised to hear that I thought Celtic were absolutely superb yesterday. I think it is the best 90-minute performance that we've put in so far under Ange. I think we've played better in spells this season. The St Mirren, Dundee and even the Hearts Cup game at the start of the season, we were arguably even better, but only for like maybe a half, whereas yesterday I felt it was a real 90-minute performance. And from the first minute to the last minute, we were in charge of that game. We just didn't let Dundee United get settled at all. And that's one of the best performing teams so far this season away from home at a ground that we didn't win at all last year. I know Dundee United are struggling a little bit lately, and they're not the same team that they were when they came to Celtic Park a couple of months ago, but we're not the same team either. We have improved so much since then, and I felt like yesterday was a really real. It was a marker of Celtic's progress under Ange. It's 5 wins on the spin away from home in the league. Could definitely have worded that better, but the crux of the matter is that Celtic are finding a way to win away from home. We're finding different ways as well. We're winning games by the odd goal, grinding out results, if you will, and in games like yesterday, we're completely obliterating the opposition. And I think that away form, that can't be underestimated. If you'd have told me after Livingston away, when we'd just lost our 3rd straight league match on the road, that we'd win the next 5, we'd win at Dundee United, at Hibs, at Aberdeen, at Motherwell, and at Dundee as well, I would probably not have believed you. I would have assumed there would be at least, 2 drop points in there somewhere. We've found a way to win away from home, and I think that kind of form is going to be so important going forward, because after Motherwell, our next 3 league games are all away from home. I don't know what order it is. I think it's Ross County first, then St Mirren, and then St Johnstone. 3 teams that are struggling a little bit this season, certainly not at the level of Dundee United. They won't be easy matches, but I think there's a real opportunity for Celtic to go on a bit of a winning run. But that's away in the distance. For now, we need to just focus on what's coming up. We've got Real Betis on Thursday night. Hopefully we're going to see a few of the fringe players playing in that game, but it's the smaller of the 2 games this week because Sunday is the big one, and it won't be easy at all against a Motherwell side who are in a rich vein of form. They are 5th in the table. They've won 3 of their last 5. They drew 1-1 at Easter Road at the weekend, and in Tony Watt they have the league's top scorer. But all of that's to come. For now, let's talk transfers. Some interesting reports today coming from Sky Sports. It's kind of like good news, and then more good news, and then even more good news, and then even more good news, but we'll get into all of that. First of all, they say Celtic are targeting moves for Dason Maeda, Rio Hatate, and Yosuke Ideguchi. Now, we've heard these names before. We've certainly heard Maeda and Hatate before. Ideguchi's just been a name that's come up in recent days, but it seems like there is something to all of these names in terms of interest from Celtic. Sky Sports say Hatate will meet bosses at his current club, Kawasaki Frontale, the champions of Japan, to ask to move early next month to Celtic rather than at the end of his contract in February. I noticed a graphic today was doing the rounds on Twitter. It's from DAZN Japan, the broadcasters, and it was their team of the J-League season. And as you can see there, 2 of the 3 forwards could be Celtic players in a matter of weeks, and that's obviously great news. And on a side note, that Vissel Kobe midfielder looks pretty decent too. Talking of midfielders, by the way, Yosuke Ideguchi, the one you may not know as much about, is a holding midfielder currently playing for Gamba Osaka. He's like a Soro who's much better in possession and also maybe a little bit more disciplined. I know that because I watched 10 minutes of him on YouTube earlier. I also read up a little bit about Ideguchi. He was called up for Japan at a very young age, but he hasn't quite lived up to that potential in recent years. There have been reasons for that. An interesting thing that I didn't actually know was that he did move to Leeds United in 2018 from Japan. That move held his career back as he never broke into their first team when Marcelo Bielsa came in. I don't think it was Bielsa that signed him, but I think Leeds then changed their manager pretty soon after, and he just couldn't really find a way into the first team under Bielsa. But Bielsa did have some good things to say about his temperament. After that, he went on loan to Germany in the second tier with Greuther Fürth. He did his cruciate ligaments in his first season there and missed the best part of a season. So there's definite potential there if he can just really get his career back on track. And to be fair, over the last couple of seasons in the J-League, he seems to have been able to do that. And obviously, Ange is the kind of guy who's already proven that he can get people's careers back on track when they've just gone a little bit skew-if. So hopefully Ideguchi is another one of those. But the Sky Sports news doesn't stop there. Oh no, they say that Celtic are expected to trigger a permanent deal for Jota before the summer. Just give me a wee minute, everyone. Sorry. They're talking about £6.5 million for Jota, which is about the biggest no-brainer in the history of no-brainers. I mean, the guy is worth, the talent we're seeing so far, the guy's a £20 million player, at least, with the quality we've seen. And it's not just been domestically. He's done it consistently in the Europa League as well. So I just want to see him signed. Ange was actually asked about this at the recent fan media press. Can you tell I'm so out of breath? I don't know why the hell I did that. So unfit. But yeah, Ange was asked about it at the recent fan media presser about 3 weeks or something ago. And this is what he had to say about the chances of a permanent deal being done for Jota in January.
The situation with Jota or anyone else who's here is that if both parties want this to continue, I think we'll make it continue. But I'm not going to be jumping at situations for any other reason than I think it's the best thing for this football club. And Jota's enjoying his football here. He's loving the club. He's loving his teammates, the way we play. He loves playing in front of our supporters. If that continues, then and he wants to stay at this football club, then we'll make. I'm sure we'll start those negotiations and come to an agreement. That's not going to satisfy everyone, because I think people just think you should just sign players as soon as they show some potential. But as I said, for me, what's more important is that we have footballers here who appreciate what they have, and Jota is certainly doing that at the moment. So I can't give you timelines. All I can say is if it continues as it is, then I'm sure he'll be part of this football club beyond this season.
So Ange sounds really calm there, and I think that's how we should all feel as well. I get why people are, quite uptight and excited about the prospect of him signing for us and nervous that we don't manage to land him, but there's nothing really so far to suggest that this deal won't become permanent at some stage. So my message is loud and it's clear and it's backed by Ange. I think, relax. And there's even more news from Sky Sports News, and depending on your thoughts on a certain Greek goalkeeper, this may even be the greatest news so far. They reckon that the Toli goalie himself, Vasilis Barkas, will be leaving the club next month, with Turkey the most likely destination. Barkas last played for us in that pre-season friendly against West Ham, and nothing against the guy, but I think everyone's life has got a bit more secure since Joe Hart became the Celtic number one. Sadly for Barkas, as much as we all wanted him to succeed, he's going to go down as one hell of a flop of a goalkeeper for Celtic. But what else is happening in the world? Greg Taylor made his first appearance for Celtic since mid-September yesterday. I actually thought he did really well. I am not his biggest fan. I had a bit of a disagreement with John on the Axom video on Saturday when I said that, I don't think he's a long-term option for Celtic. I think we need to be looking at a better calibre of player. John disagreed with me. He thinks that Greg Taylor could actually become good. And Greg Taylor was really good yesterday. I thought he had a really good game against Dundee United. And he's actually been chatting about that on Instagram. He said he's so happy to be back, and he gave a big thank you to everyone who's helped him through the last 3 months. So hopefully he can kick on from here. And he wasn't the only person to have a good Sunday. A huge congratulations to the Celtic women's team on winning the SWPL Cup. They beat Glasgow City 1-0 in the final yesterday. It was 1-0, but it could have been 5-0 with the chances they created. It's Celtic's first trophy since 2010, and the good news doesn't stop there, because the final was played in front of more than 3,500 at Firhill. That's the highest attendance for a domestic women's cup final in Scotland ever. And Glasgow City are a good team. They're the big dogs in the women's game. They've won the last 14 titles on the spin, but the landscape of Scottish women's football is changing. Celtic are one of the kind of new clubs that are obviously the overall kind of men's team is putting money into women's football, and I think it's a matter of time before Celtic are winning more and more trophies. So a great start. It feels like the start of something special for Fran Alonso and his players, so a huge well done to them. And a huge well done as well to Ronny Deila and friend of the show Efrain Juarez, who have won the Eastern Conference with New York City. They beat Philadelphia Union last night. Former Celtic youngster Stuart Finlay was in the Philadelphia Union team, who took the lead, but they lost 2-1. And Deila and co will now face Portland Timbers on Saturday night for the overall MLS title, which would obviously be an incredible achievement when you look at some of the teams and the sides that are in that league. It's such a vast country, and the MLS is getting better every single season. So well done, Ronny and Efrain. I think everyone at Celtic is delighted for you. Hopefully there's more success to come this coming Saturday. Before then, on the channel, we've got loads happening. It's another jam-packed week. It might be a little bit all over the place this week because we've got kind of 2 games. We've got so much content, different content happening, so many interviews lined up. And also I'm doing a bit of writing over on 67 Hail Hail a couple of days this week because David's obviously away on holiday. So it might be a little bit different, but we're still going to have videos for you every day unless something goes drastically wrong. We will have Scott McDonald on at some stage, still firming up when we'll get him on. We're hoping to do a deep dive into Rio Hatate at some stage. I've got an interview lined up for that. We're also going to catch up with our Betis pal from match day 1 of the Europa League, Enrique Roldan, and we're going to hit the pub at the end of the week for the Motherwell reaction. So much happening. The subs are absolutely flying at the moment. I think less than a week ago I was here on my knees begging you to subscribe to get us to 22k, and we're already like a third of the way to 23k now. Are you someone who's just found the channel lately? Maybe YouTube's wonderful algorithm has led you to us. If so, say hi below. It's always nice to see some new faces because the old ones are getting a little bit boring. I'm joking, of course. We love you all. And of course, if you're new to the channel and haven't yet subscribed, don't forget to do that. And we are aiming for 23k by the end of the year. That would cap off a wonderful 2021 for all of us. You really are a bunch of legends, old, new, whatever you do. Chat tomorrow.